All right, welcome back to the Beach Chair Chats. My name is Brian here on a beautiful day here in New England. And I have a great guest who's not from New England. She's out west in good old Utah. Tillie Uribe, how are you?
I am good. Thanks for asking.
You're off summer now. You're a teacher. You are living your best life right now because you're no longer teaching. You're on a break.
I am trying to live my best life.
How are you feeling on this break? As teachers, I will say this. I'm not a K through 12 teacher. I'm a higher ed. So higher ed people have a different world than K through 12. So how does it feel for you right now to like be done for the summer?
It's a little strange because I usually continue to work for the school district through the summer, doing different programs. So it's odd not having a schedule that
Hmm.
actually have to adhere to, but it's been kind of nice and slow.
Nice and slow is a good thing because you teach kindergarten, right? You've been working
Yes.
with little kids and little kids, I mean, they are a handful. There, you got to keep your head in a swivel. What's it like? You start the year like on, right? You're ready to go, but at the end of the year, you're kind of like exhausted.
At the end of the year, there's not enough caffeine or sugar to get you through the day. But
Yeah.
yeah, like, the littles, like they're my jam. They keep me active. Like I get to change what I'm doing every 15 to 30 minutes. It just so your day goes pretty quickly and it's
Hmm.
day, there's something new to discover, which I really like.
Well, because kids are wonderful like that because those at that age they're developing, right? And you have an influence on them and their growth and their curiosity. I'm sure there's always questions being asked of you, or they're just curious. Are they pretty honest with you, or did they just say things and just like, where did that come from, or just keep you on your toes?
They are brutally honest, man. You never know what's your way. And if you look bad, they're gonna let you know you look bad, but on the flip side, they always notice if I've had my hair done or new nail polish or new outfits or things like that. So, like, they're also your hype crew. So,
They can bring you up and tear you down all in the same breath. I'm like, how is this supposed to help me out psychologically? My mental health suffers every day because I came to work thinking I was feeling great today, and all of a sudden they said, "No, you're not." Honesty, kids are wonderful like that. College kids are not honest. They deflect and are just yeah, they don't
yeah,
own
that's a
anything.
whole different ball game.
Yes. So you've been doing it for 30 years though, right? 30 years?
I just wrapped up 32
32.
2 years.
So what's different today? Do you see it is it different now teaching today versus like it was when you just started?
Oh, it is such a different ball game. Um, Mainly in the fact that our education system is so broken.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, the way they keep trying to fix it isn't actually fixing things, it's making it worse.
Mm-hmm.
And everything, like there's that saying, right? Shit rolls downhill
Yep.
and it all piles up on the teachers. And the
Mm-hmm.
teachers end up with like more and more responsibilities, more requirements, more standards, more of this with less pay,
Mm-hmm.
no more time in the day to get it done. So it's definitely a harder gig than when I first started. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the one thing that's constant though are your kids and your families, and
Yes.
that's why you stay.
That's what matters, right? That's why you do it. Even
Right.
though like this stuff, like I said, this shit goes downhill. I think it's universal. Even in Connecticut, I hear the same stories from teachers. Like they're burnt out. They're buying their own supplies. There's no budgets. They are working when they go home to do report cards. They don't ever get lunch breaks because their little ones are like on them left and right. And it's just that's why I feel like the end of the year, there's always that teacher countdown, like how many more days until summer? Because you're just anxious and ready for it. Just because not because you don't love what you do, it's just your cup is empty at that point, right?
And it takes a toll mentally and physically. People don't talk about the physical side of teaching,
Mm-hmm.
especially K-12.
Mm-hmm.
You are on it all day long and like I laugh when people say, "Oh, I got to get my 10,000 steps a day." I'm like, when I'm teaching, I have a good 20,000 or so a
Yeah.
day. I'm exhausted by the end of the day, and by the end of the school year, there's no more to give.
No, which is why this time right now is important for you. I know you're a busy person and like to stay busy, and I think rest is a hard thing.
Yeah, I don't rest well. I don't stay still well. Well, this is a challenge for me to not be super busy.
Well, I think you find other things to do as well because you are passionate. I know you're an avid gardener. You love your
Yes,
plants.
I do love my plants.
How many plants do you have? I know it's
In,
a lot.
in total, between my inside plants at home and my classroom plants, I probably have 135, 140, and that's
That's
not counting my propagation jars, which have millions in.
it's like your house like
So
a greenhouse at this point. I mean, it's well oxygenated. I think
it is like I have the cleanest air on the planet.
you do. If like people can't breathe, just go to your house. Like I can breathe again. All the
Oh
plants are
yeah,
there.
they bring me great joy.
That's good. What do you have a favorite? I know orchids is something you mentioned. Orchids are something your favorite. Is that your favorite plant or is there a
Oh, that's not my favorite. So, orchids I kind of just got into because people were would gift me
Mhm.
orchids, and they're really quite tricky to care for. So there's a lot of science involved, and I am like a huge science geek.
Mhm.
I have a big background in science also. And so just figuring out the right conditions and things to grow orchids took a lot of practice and a
Mhm.
lot of trial and error. But my favorite plant in the world, his name is Alfonso.
Fonzo. All
Alfonso,
right.
huge. He's um probably 4 feet across by 5, 6 feet tall.
It's a big plant.
And he's an aloe vera, actually. And he was a gift from a student. And so he just started little tiny in a pot, maybe
Mhm.
a 4-inch plant. And one of my kids had given me this big, like ceramic, Hispanic style pot that you see all over, like you'd find in Mexico City.
Mhm.
And he just loved that pot and he just grew and grew and grew.
Mhm.
And now it's just kind of a pet project to see how big I can get him.
Well, it's also a therapeutic plant too, in case you get too much sun. It's like, hey, aloe vera, we could take care of
Right?
me, so I can heal my skin, so I don't get too burnt.
Yes. So he's medicinal in many ways. There are lots of ways you can use that plant. So yeah, he's my favorite.
Now, do you find like your curiosity with plants and taking care of them, kind of like your upbringing as a child? Did you grew up like was it a farm kind of
Yeah.
lifestyle?
I grew up on a dairy farm in
Mhm.
Colorado.
All right. Well, I see as a fellow farm kid, my farm was not dairy cattle. It was the Angus beef, Midwestern. You get it, right? And so, yeah, it was lots of cows. There were 1,000 head of cattle at one point at my dad's farm. How many cows did you have when you grew up? Was it a
We
big dairy
had,
farm?
well, so when I was little, we had the dairy farm, and then we downsized into just a small family farm.
Hmm.
But when we had the dairy farm, I think at one, I was young, so over 500 head. I'm
Okay.
not sure exactly how many, but like my dad's family line had a huge commercial dairy actually that sits on the edge of Colorado and Nebraska and Holyoke,
Okay.
halfway
I know where
Colorado.
Holyoke is. I'm familiar with
Yeah,
Holyoke.
they actually just sold it.
Hmm.
So our family's no longer in the dairy business, which is kind of odd.
Well, it's like my family farm. My father still does it, and he's 82. And it's farmers don't retire. Farmers just farm and
They
yeah,
just
and
farm.
then they're
Hmm.
done, right? At some point, he's already like, what we're gonna do with the farm when he passes away. It's like we won't talk about that, but it's one of those things that he's thinking ahead, like, because this is it. But the sad reality for him was it was a family thing, and my sister's kind of the only one who's like interested, and my brother's not there to do it. I chose to go a different path, and so it's kind of like the end of an era a little bit. It's kind of bittersweet, but yeah, it's part of your history. So. You know, what's preventing you from getting your own dairy cows?
Um,
They might eat all
I
your plants.
I totally love to have a little farm. That's in the plan at some point.
Hmm.
But I just when I moved away, I moved to the city,
Hmm.
and I ended up starting my career, my family here, and just never really had the opportunity. Plus, my husband was a city boy
Hmm.
and didn't fare well on the farm,
Hmm.
so we stayed in the city. But
Yeah.
okay, I've had like a little urban farm. I've had chickens.
Hmm.
I've had tortoises, rabbits,
Yeah.
all the reptiles and
Hmm.
all the different things. So definitely in my blood.
Well, like, 4-H club. I did 4-H as a kid, so I'm very familiar with all the
Oh,
animals, right?
okay,
4-H.
we'll do the pledge.
Do the pledge. It's been a while. I don't know I can't remember the pledge. It's been a minute. But I remember showing, I had my belt buckle on, I had my jeans and my boots and my 4-H t-shirt. I'd show our cows. We had chickens, we had rabbits, we had sheep, which I did not like sheep.
Big,
Pigs. Oh, didn't like
opposite.
pigs are a pain in the ass. I'm sorry. They're foraging animals. They don't herd. You can't ring it. They just do
Oh,
whatever.
but they're so fun. Like when we sold the dairy farm, my dad started pig farming.
Hmm.
And now my sister has a pig farm and they're just like big puppies.
They
And
are. But then
but
they
I
get out. Well, they would get out all the time. Ours would get out, and then you can't find them because, like I
no,
said,
and
they're
once they get out, they just repeat it and they
yeah.
destroy things.
They find food, and like we used to have cattle when they get out, and they get like they'd herd, right? You find one, you find them all somewhere, and like the worst part is when they get out and they go into cornfields, and like, oh, that's not fun because you don't know where they're at in the cornfields, and you have to try to find them. But farm life is definitely different than the city life. But you also talked about being a mom too, being a parent. You're a mom of four
Have four.
girls. I was four. What is it like to be a mom of four girls? I'm sure you love them dearly. She just said it's your pride possession, our pride, joy in life is being a mom, but four
Are
girls.
um yeah, I love my girls in the fact that yeah, it's a so many clothes and hair products.
Hmm.
But I none of them were like super girly. Like they were tomboys, and
Okay.
now I have one that's really, really girly,
Hmm.
which is kind of different, but they're all four very different spirits
Hmm.
and different interests and strengths and things like that. So it was really unique. All four of them, not a single one the same.
Well, it's the kids are fun, right? But four girls, sometimes that might be unique, could be a wonderful thing, but also could be like the mother-daughter relationship sometimes can always be tested with girls and
Yeah.
moms. Do you feel like you had that issue? Just was it ever an issue for you, the mom-daughter
Um,
relationship?
Not really because I was the only
Yeah.
parent.
Hmm.
So I had to play both roles.
Yeah.
So we never really had that mother-daughter conflict,
Which is good.
which was good. I mean, I'm not saying we didn't have difficult teenage years. I had
Hmm.
one that I thought, holy cow, if I make it through these years. Um,
Yeah,
but for the most part, it was not too bad.
that's
I would
good.
take teenage years over young adult years any day.
Well, now young adults today, there's this with kids, they grow up in this world. There's just so much stuff. It's just, oh, like my son's 20, going to be 21, and he's lives in kind of the online world and gaming world. I'm like, let's come on, and he's like, let's get outside, let's do something. Let's not wasting so much time. It's just hard to break him sometimes, right? But we do your best. We do our best to make that happen.
Do and eventually they do their own thing and they come around and they become pleasant human beings.
That's the hope. Like there's always that book they give you when you're gonna have a child. They're like, oh, what to expect when you're expecting, which I never read those books. I didn't because they're like someone else wrote the book. That's their book to write. It's not my story, and every kid is different. It's
Very
just
different.
you know.
Yeah.
But since you let me talk about this, since you're an outdoor lover, you send me some beach photos because in the spirit of the beach share chat concept, tell me a little bit about some of these beautiful photos. There's
Um,
like,
I think there are just two different beaches in those photos. One
mm-hmm,
is in California, in Oceanside, and that was the sunset one.
mm-hmm,
And that was my friend's wedding, one of my college friends that we do. We get together like once every 6 weeks or so online in Zoom.
mm-hmm.
And so we all went down for his wedding on the beach, and it was a really good time. And then the other one is my favorite beach in Oregon. It's Seal Beach.
Okay,
And my girls and I have spent a lot of time there. So in 2010, I won a big teaching award.
nice.
It
As you
came with
should
a
have, as you should.
which our current administration has kiboshed and
Oh,
longer. But I digress.
jerks.
That was the first beach I took my kids to,
Okay.
was Seal Beach, and we go back all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And my oldest daughter now lives up in Oregon, and so that's a favorite beach for
Well,
sure.
it's a beautiful beach, like anything with the beach. What is it about the ocean for you? Obviously, you live in the mountains, which is a whole different majestic type feeling than the ocean. But do you feel like you get that same feeling because you love to be outdoors in them? Do you feel that same feeling when you're in them, like at the water or in the mountains?
Um, it's a similar feeling. Like the ocean comes with some different, like, it resets your mind, it resets your body, it resets your rhythms in life. And so having the opportunity just to put your feet on the sand or in the water and just be just totally gives you a complete reset that
Mm-hmm.
you don't get the same kind of reset in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so amazing that there's this vastness with this whole other world underneath the water, and
Mm-hmm.
we experience such a tiny portion of it.
Well, I always talked about that with I either mentioned on a previous episode or I've had this conversation with people before. It's like with people. I always equate the ocean almost like people, almost like a relationship with it. Is that if you look out on the ocean and it's a beautiful, like I said, beautiful sunrise or sunset, right? You see it, someone 20 miles down the road is going to see the same thing, right? It all looks like pristine and perfect, right? But like you said, there's so much below the depth. There's so many things that not everybody sees. It's like that fraction. And so the depth of what's underneath it all is what makes it so mysterious and so just I guess magical or just curious, the idea of what is below all that. Even looking at the picture right now, I see these rocks and I see this beautiful the cloud formations, but underneath it all, no one can see that unless you like really get into it. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about the ocean. I always find it is the amount of stories that are within it that no one can really see.
Right? One of my favorite things to do at the beach is I love to tide pool. I like to explore those little
Hmm.
pools, all the different life, and the
Hmm.
I could spend as much time as possible doing that
Yeah.
because it's intriguing.
Well, it's the science side of you, right? It's the curiosity of what these organisms are and what is even in it. Like even when I go into the ocean now, it's like I was walking, it was low tide, and I went out to where I live in this little spot. And of course, between these like docks, there's going to be all sorts of creatures is there. And I was walking out. This is before all the boaters start showing up for the summer, and the water is so clear. And I'm walking, and like I look down, it's this massive crab. And like, okay, I'm not going to step up. I'm going to move over here, but you don't know it's there if you don't see it. And I guess that's the fun part about what's living in the waters, and plus the stories that have traversed, things of the history of what's lived and gone through those waters over time. It's pretty cool stuff.
And the stories that are buried underneath the
Hmm.
water.
Hmm. Oh yeah,
So fascinating.
so many stories about that. So for you in this summer of reset, I know gardening needs there. You got your plants. What are some other things that is on your radar? I know you've been reading a lot, spending some more time with that. You mentioned the idea of being an avid chef or cooking. Is that on the, what's up
Um,
with that? You know?
I I love to cook and discover new things in the kitchen.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm currently exploring a lot more plant-based cooking and just learning, like, I don't know about you, but
Hmm.
like we got vegetables growing up that they were always cooked the same way,
Yeah.
boiled.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Boiled,
Yes.
boiled turnips. Oh,
Always
just
boiled.
disgusting, right?
Hmm.
So, but learning the science behind the different flavonoids and the different chemicals and compounds that are in vegetables that are released through different ways of cooking
Hmm.
and different seasonings and stuff is fascinating to me. So I've been exploring with a lot of that.
Well, I was gonna make a joke. You said plant-based cooking. I thought maybe all your plants in the house might have shriveled down a little bit, thinking, "Wait, am I next? She can't eat me, can she?" No, I'm kidding. They're not edible
I,
plants.
I do like to grow a lot of edible plants, so there are some that end up in my cooking.
That's
That's more my outdoor
yes.
outdoor stuff.
Well, this it does make sense though. Like I said, going back to the science of curiosity, like it's I think this is why you gravitate towards teaching because you inspire kids to also be curious, right? And to do those things, to figure things out, to understand how all the stuff works, especially with cooking and things that you do, to see what happens. You try this, you do this, and see what happens, right? Do you see yourself, the things that you learn on your own, you take that to the classroom with your kids as well to get them to be curious?
Oh, all the time. And little kids, especially kids in the 4 to 7-year-old range,
Hmm.
are such natural little scientists
Oh yeah.
that you just let them go and ask questions and try to figure out these problems or problems that they have. They they'll spend a whole day,
Hmm.
2 days, 3 days, and in that time frame, they are learning how to test different things, how to gather data, how to read, how to write, all the things that we need them to do
Hmm.
when they're learning to be successful humans,
Hmm.
they are doing naturally. And if we just tap into that
Hmm.
and push them and foster that, holy cow, it's amazing to see what happens.
Yeah, they grow up and be wonderful college students, and I'd be thankful for that as a college person. You know,
Like,
it's like you mentioned earlier about just the way education's changed. It's almost like taking that away. This the
it is.
ability developmentally for kids. I think they're forcing kids or pushing things too fast for young people, for young ones to say, "I'm just a kid. I want to play. I want to explore my environment." I don't need to do standardized tests. I don't need to see this because I'm not, and a lot of times they fail it because they're just developmentally not there. And it is, yeah, it's just bring play back to schools and let them experience and be, like I said, little scientists and problem solve things, you know?
Yeah, so the like how it's changed, the standards that I used to teach in first grade, at the end of the year, first grade, are
Hmm.
now beginning of the year kindergarten
Yeah.
standards. And their brains, like, it just infuriates me because their brains are not there.
Hmm. Mm-mm.
They're physically not there either. Like, they expect these kiddos to do standardized tests and stuff
Yeah.
on the computer. Well, their hands aren't even ready to hold pencils. The
No.
bones are not developed enough. The ligaments, the structures, they're not ready.
Hmm.
And yeah, so I break lots of rules in my classroom because don't I don't do things that are not developmentally appropriate for my kids.
Well, and that's because you care and you also just know the field. I think that happens, with administrations. They just don't, they're so out of touch with the classroom. They think we got to do this and pass it down and make sure you do it, right? So it's, yeah, break the rules a little bit and the kids will benefit in the long run. And I think, well, half the challenge too is like when you do all the work and you mentioned the parents are great parents too, which is wonderful. Sometimes depending on where you're at, And even in Connecticut here, there's sometimes you get districts and the parents just aren't quite replicating the same thing you do in the classroom. So you do 5 days of this, and then the weekend hits and they reset back to old standards. You ever see that happening quite a bit?
Well, I have always taught in lower income, Title One, high refugee population,
Hmm.
high immigrant population schools. Um, so it the parents are doing most of the parents are doing the very best that they can.
Hmm.
They want what is best for their child. Most of my parents are working two and three jobs just to provide a home, food,
Hmm.
and all the necessities. So I right before COVID hit, I took a class. I was taking a class called Trauma in the Classroom.
Hmm.
And it wasn't so much about the trauma that comes into the classroom, it was about the trauma that the teacher brings or that the
Hmm.
school brings and then
Hmm.
impose upon the kids. And we had a guest speaker who he's one of the tribal leaders out here for the Ute Nation. And he's had an amazing career, but part of his story was being sent away for school and then coming back and how the cultures don't mesh.
Hmm.
But he said one thing you have to remember is when a parent is sending you a child, they are sending you their best child.
Hmm.
You are in charge of their best child.
Hmm.
That's a huge role. And how you receive that child is so important. What you pour into that child, how you approach them, how you teach them. It is my job when I get that best child
Hmm.
to give them the best that I have.
Hmm.
And so I actually have that written on one of my boards in my room. I am sending you my best child. So
Hmm.
when I am off my game, when my shit is getting in the way,
Hmm.
I can look at that and go, okay, I need to step back
Hmm.
and reset because these kids deserve better.
And it's a valid point too, because as teachers, like I said, you're human. Just like and you can show up to work every day with the best intentions, and like I said, all these kids get off the bus and they show up in your room and they're there, right? And like I
And
said,
it's go time.
it's there is no off, right? It's like there's no cold open, there's no can we rehearse this? No, you're on, and but it's hard, right? And teachers do, yeah, as much people call them superhuman, and you are, you're also human, and to give
Right.
your best version of yourself and to be present and to be engaged, but it's normal. So when you have those moments, just for yourself, right, where you find yourself like, wow, I'm not on my shit today. My game's just down. How do you get yourself out of that?
Well, the first thing I do is I let my kids know. I'm like, hey, I am having a bad day.
Hmm.
And so just be patient with me. And then we take a moment, we pause. If I need to, I walk out of the classroom for a few minutes and then I come back in and we go from there.
Well, and they respect that, which is good. I think that's important because it sends a message to them too that they can also be honest with that as kids and say, I'm having a bad day too, and knowing that's okay. And but it's a lot because, like I said, their best student, the best kid, best child is coming to you, and the expectations for teachers is to do it all, right? And it's not even, do you find as a teacher that you're doing more other things than actually teaching?
There is so much paperwork and testing. Like I cringe when I have
Is this
to
triggering right now? Am I triggering you on your resting summer with Christian?
when I have to give my kindergartners standardized test. Those tests mean absolutely nothing. Um, they're biased in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
And like if the kid is having an off day, they're screwed because
Yeah.
that's their
Mm-hmm.
and I yeah, so the testing, I feel like I test more than I get to teach,
Yeah.
which absolutely abhor,
Hmm.
but it's part of my contract.
Yeah. You just keep doing it. But this is why
But
I think this is why the summer is definitely important for you to actually, for once, you know, stop for a minute, right? And stop all the things and I guess dedicate time to you, right? For once
yeah,
versus work, work, work. Give yourself the break, give yourself the grace to have the downtime because when you come back in the fall or whenever you start out there, I know here it's like it ranges for teachers to get like a month off out here. And but take this time, right? And do the things you love. Spend more time for yourself to recharge, right? So you can be ready for year 33, right?
yes.
It's like, geez, I'm just triggering the hell out of you right now. Standardized tests, and I'm doing this for 33 years. Hoy.
When my sister and I were talking this morning, like, because she's a teacher also,
Mhm.
and she's like, and the lady on the radio just pissed me off this morning because she said June is half over. That means I only have X amount of days of summer.
I know it's different. It's summers off is it hits different for teachers just because you need the summers off and like when it goes so fast,
Yeah.
just like this podcast is going super fast. um, but Tilly, it's been wonderful having you on today. I really hope you get to enjoy some more time with your plants and get outside and read some more books, cook some great food, and just again relax and it's okay to do it and sit still and just be present in that time and you're going to enjoy the rest of the summer while you still have that time. And it's going to go slow, right? Speaking to the universe, it's going to slow down.
Well, thanks so much for having me on. It was fun.